Steve! Steve! Just got on my break, mate. 5 minutes.
This is 421 Air requesting backup. We got a perfect corner with an avenue. Got a perfect economic area there. This is 421 Air requesting backup.
I'm not really a security guard. I just do lots of various part-time jobs, which allows me to bring you the very latest in news and reviews on consoles and gaming, with a few retrospective flashbacks thrown in for good measure. I've set up here this week. Hope you like it. Welcome to Reloaded. Let's see what's on tonight's show.
Micro Machines V4, the multiplayer classic brand, revamped for 2006. I take a look at the PS2 version. I'll also be reviewing Titan Quest, the action RPG set in Greek mythology for the PC. I'll be showing you that ASAP. My top 5 list this week is focusing on console pads, which leads me nicely into the Nintendo Wii, which is also going to keep me in one-liners for the next 10 years, but it's got a pretty interesting pad of its own. And in our retro section, I'm going to be chatting to Gary Whelan, Galaxian world record holder. But first up, this week we've got an exclusive look at 2 hot new titles, fresh from E3. First up tonight, it's Forza Motorsport 2, the Xbox 360's real driving simulator, and it isn't just an update, it's a complete overhaul for next-gen technology. Featuring manufacturers such as Ferrari and Lamborghini and tracks like the Nürburgring, this game is sure to send any car nut into a spin. In fact, if it handles anything like it looks, I'll certainly be tearing around some tracks when it comes out. Imagine beating your mate like this. Alright, and a game that needs no introduction, Halo 3. No actual in-game footage at the moment, but here's a nice cutscene for you. You like that, don't you? Oh.
This is the way the world ends.
2 great games there. Well, in fact, let's be honest, Halo's one of those titles that pretty much sells consoles all on its own. However, it's not what's been on my console mainly this week, and our featured review is Micro Machines V4. In fact, go on, let's take a look.
This is Micro Machines V4, the brand new miniature racer from Codemasters. We're looking at the PS2 version, but it's also available on PSP, PC and Nintendo DS. A title that everyone's familiar with, however, this time with a phenomenal 750 vehicles to collect and around 50 household arenas to blast and bash your micro challenges around. That's right, I did say blast, because this time round, Micro Machines V4 is equipped with an even more dazzling array of weapons and power-ups, from machine guns, dice bombs and daisy cutters to my personal favourite, the hammer. Oh, I can't touch this song. The cars handle like a dream as they whiz past chickens and slide around pool tables, though the changes in camera angle can take a bit of getting used to initially. While the single player mode has plenty to keep you occupied in the short term, let's be honest, Micro Machines is all about over-competitive multiplayer action. And once again, this title does not disappoint. With up to 4 players racing around at any one time, it won't be long before Underhanded Tactics has got one of your pals throwing a pad in a tantrum. Whilst primarily aimed at younger players with its licensed cars, if older players can see past the cartoon setting, then it's a quality multiplayer title. Go on, you're not too old to play with toy cars. Maybe they'll bring out Matchbox machines next year.
Right, well, I'm going to carry on playing this for a wee while if I'm honest. However, while I'm doing that, I want to tell you about another title I've been playing quite a lot this week. Oh, look.
Okay, yeah, this is Titan Quest, a brand new action RPG set in ancient mythology. That means you can expect a whole horde of mystical beasties, including centaurs, harpies, and a few horrifically tough titans, all basically acting like they really don't want you there. Anyone who's played either of the previous Diablo games, or any of their offshoots, will be immediately familiar with the point-and-click control method, and will soon come to realise that the left mouse button is definitely your best friend. It's not quite that simple though. As soon as you get enough XP to reach level 2, you're introduced to Titan Quest's mastery system, and it's here where you can really start to customise your character. Sounds simple, eh? Well, I'm afraid that is too simple, because Titan Quest also allows you to choose a secondary class, which means you can have imaginative character combinations such as Rogue Necromancer. I couldn't quite find Camp Wizard anywhere. There are one or two minor faults with the game though. Whilst you travel from Greece to Egypt and finally Asia, you never feel like you're really fighting different creatures. The hordes do often feel like the same beastie, but this time just wearing his mate's jumper. And sorting out the items in your inventory often feels a bit like having a quick blast on Tetris in the middle of your ancient quest through pagandom. That said, any RPG fan is sure to love the mythical setting. The graphics are fantastic with some dazzling spell effects and rolling hillsides, as well as boss fights that are just a pleasure in themselves. All in all, Titan Quest is simple to get into, but with around 35 hours of gameplay for the initial single player campaign, there's enough there to hold your attention through these hot summer days. Add to this the multiplayer aspect and the mod tool that lets you create your own custom maps. I'm sure you'll be playing Titan Quest till the harpies come home.
You saved my horse! Thank you!
Right, now, let's be honest, everyone loves a list, and in the absence of Jimmy Carr doing the top 100 programs, you've got me in my top 5 list, and this week I've decided to focus on the top 5 pads. But let's first we sent out Sarah Coops to find out what Manchester's top 5 pads were. What's going on, Coops?
Thanks for that, Jerry. Now I'm going to be roaming the streets of Manchester to find out which is your favourite gamepad. Come on.
In 5, the Dreamcast pad. Alright, fatty, boy.
I'd say the Dreamcast one was the best. They used to have a little slot in the top for the memory card, and that was pretty innovative at the time. There wasn't many that had that sort of thing.
In 4, NES pad. Basic, functional, you can bang nails in with it.
I think the original Nintendo Entertainment System is probably the best, but small and compact.
They should bring the original Nintendo one back that just had 2 buttons, the start and select, and just the up, down. Right. Yeah, that was a legend pad.
In 3, the Mega Drive. Wow, curvy.
I used to like the Mega Drive when I was a kid though. I wouldn't mind seeing that out, but it's tracking them down.
I like the Mega Drive. That's got a really nice shaped pad. You know, it lost the square corner, so I don't get blisters from it anymore.
In 2, the 360. Where we're going, we don't need wires.
Probably the Xbox 360, just because it fits in your hands and it's wireless. It's easy to play with.
I like the Xbox one at the moment. I think that's pretty good. I play racing games a lot, so the analog sticks on the car are really, really good for braking and accelerating.
Yeah, at the moment I prefer the Xbox 360 one.
And top of the bill tonight, the PS2. More buttons and fingers.
It's probably the PS2 gamepad because that's the one I use mouse probably. I've played on my friend's Xbox one and I prefer the PS2 pads to be honest.
PS2 is good as well. It's just simple and easy to use.
So then, we've discovered that the PlayStation 2 pad is Manchester's favourite, and it's kind of my favourite too.
The PS2 pad, already a classic, not a bad day. But another potential classic in the making is new from Nintendo and is the Wii. And I think you'll agree it's already got a pretty interesting pad of its own. Take a wee look. Right, it is time for a little blast from the past. Well, quite literally, this week in our retro section, we're looking at Galaxians. In fact, who better to look at it with than the world champion himself? Take a look at this.
Everybody loves Space Invaders, but they came in and they brought a new one in. And we was all a bit disappointed, but when we saw it, it was just great. It was full colour. Space Invaders is black and white, so this came in, it was colour. People gave it a go. And it was the most popular game there. When it went out, they got something else in, but there was never a game that was as popular. Everybody knows Space Invaders, but this time they're coloured. Yeah, there's colours, different colours, greys, purples, reds, and the yellows. If you hit the 2 reds, then the yellow, you get the maximum bonus then of 800 points. And these move across the screen like Space Invaders, but dive bomb at you at the same time. That's what makes the game so much more interesting, and the colour. It gets a little bit quicker as each level goes on, until it reaches a peak of how quick it is, around about level 20. I got it from London, won it on an auction on eBay. There's quite a few knocking around, but obviously they're going to get rarer. People buy them and then buy 2 or 3 and make one good one out of some. They're left to rot. They were at the time. But yeah, this is an authentic Tato table with an original glass top full of the beer scratches, as you can probably see from people drinking. I've done very little. I've changed 1 or 2 things on it, but I've tried to keep it as original as possible. The attraction now is that the game's the same, and back in '79, when I was 19, 20, this was the game. And as I've got older and realised that instead of playing it on emulated systems such as on PlayStation or MAME or other things, Nintendo, I could buy the table I used to play on in 1979. Not exactly the same one, obviously, but the same type of machine. Buy it and play it. And when I just got it and I played it, died then, I just loved it. Well, way back in the 80s, a guy called Walter Day, who runs a website, Twin Galaxies, he runs all the high scores for everywhere in the world. Now, with this one, because I'm in the UK, and he couldn't get a referee round to look at me play it, I had to videotape it from start to finish. The previous top score was 389,000, set in 1983, I think. I got to a stage where I was 1,000 points under the record. Now, to clear a stage gets you about 3,500 points. So I knew if I cleared a third of it, or just some of them, I would make it. And I remember not wanting to look at the top score, just concentrating like mad, just to think, am I going to do it? And I got rid of half of them, and I looked, and I knew I'd cleared it.
Oh, easy. Well, it looks like it's about time for me to start wrapping things up. However, make sure you join me same time next week. 'Cause at the end of the day, there's other jobs, but there's only one reloaded. I'll see you in a bit.